3, 2, 1, 0.
What is group? Group is a collection of two or more people who have a common goal or interest and interact with each other to accomplish their objective, and they are aware of one another and perceive themselves to be a part of a group. In another word, we can say a group is a set of two or more individuals who have a common purpose or objective to interact to each other or one another to accomplish their objective and well aware of one another. So, we can here to conclude, a group is a collection of two or more individuals who came together to setting goals, who know each other and well aware about the objective on the target which they have to achieve together. This is what group means. We will see some other definition given by authors per group. According to H.E. Shine, a psychological group is any number of people who interact with one another, are psychologically aware of one another, perceive themselves to be a group. According to Stephen Robbins, a group can be defined as two or more people interacting and interdependent who come together to achieve particular goal. According to Killenberg, if two or more individuals are together but interact and influence one another, they constitute, if only for a time, a real group. Here, from different definition, is very clear that a group is concerned with two or more persons who are interacting and interdependent and come together to achieve a common goal. Where a number of persons, they share common objective, they know each other, and they have something to move on to complete. This is what a group is.
Group dynamic. Group dynamics is a system of behavior and physiological processes occurring within a social group. Interact group dynamics or between social group. Intergroup dynamics. The study of group dynamics can be useful in understanding decision-making behavior, tracking the spread of diseases of society, creating effective therapy techniques, and following the emergence and popularity of new ideas and technologies. This application of the field studies the psychology, sociology, anthropology, political science, epidemiology, education, social work, leadership studies, business and managerial studies, as well as communication studies. Open communication when team members are willing to discuss issues and problems throughout a project. Example, alignment, conflict resolution, commitment to the project, and optimistic thinking.
Forces found in small groups. There are two important historical landmarks in understanding small groups. First is the researchers of Elton Mayo and his collage in the 1920s and 1930s. According to his research, workers tend to establish formal groups that affect job satisfactions and effectiveness. Second is the experiments conducted in the 1930s by Kurt Lewin, considered the founder of the dynamics movement group. His experiment shows that different types of leadership's attitudes resulted in different response in groups. Let's start by defining a group. A group is made up of individuals who come together to accomplish a particular task or goal. Next is group dynamics. Refers to the attitudinal and behavioral characteristics of a group. Here are some more important historical clues to understanding these small groups. First is research done by Elton Mayo and his collage in the 1920s by Kurt Lewin, known as the founder of a group dynamics movement. Next is, according to May, workers tend to form formal groups that affect job satisfactions and effectiveness. And last is, Lewin shows that different types of leadership's attitudes produce different responses in groups.
Concept of social group. A social group consists of two or more people who interact with one another and who recognize themselves as a distinct social unit. Groups are among the most stable and enduring of social units. They are important both to their members and to the society at large. Social group is any collection of persons who share common interests and reason for being together. Some groups are formed naturally, others are recognized for a particular purpose.
Special properties of groups. The special properties of groups are illustrated by a simple lesson in mathematics, as in 1 plus 1 equals 3. This is logical error in the world of mathematics. In the world of group dynamics, however, this is rational. In a group, there is no such thing as merely composition of two people. It is their relationship that makes it a tree. For instance, salt or sodium chloride has different properties from the sodium and the chlorine element that form a group to make it. Group types are defined as a formal or informal nature. Formal work groups are established by organization to achieve its goals.
Primary group. Primary group is characterized by intimate face-to-face associations and cooperation among its members. Its fundamental forms the social nature and ideals of an individual. It involves sympathy and mutual identification, which is a form of natural expression.
Primary group is an atypical small group whose members have deep, personal, and long-lasting ties. Example of primary group include family, neighbors, and friends. They are defined by fundamental links with informal communication.
Secondary group. Secondary group consists of members who are aware and cognizant of personal relationships, but they do not feel that their lives are bound with another except in time of social crisis. The members may be separated from one another by distance or by lack of personal physical contact. Nevertheless, they can share their interests through correspondence, press, radio, telephone, or other means.
Secondary group. This group is a huge connection in which a large number of people have limited interaction with anyone. These connections are more formal, professional, and separated than primary group interactions.
Characteristic of a group. In groups are the groups with which an individual identifies himself completely. Member of a group has feelings of attachment, sympathy, and affection towards the other members of these groups, and groups are generally based on the consciousness of kind member of a group. Identity themselves with the word we. A group is defined as a social aggregate of two or more people that involves mutual awareness, interaction, and interdependence of its members. The characteristic of the group shape the belief and behavior of its members.
Is the extent in which members see themselves as one common faith, similarity, and proximity. Perceived groupness is the idea that others see an individual as belonging to a certain social group. For example, athletes, geeks, and punks. Tendency occurs when the members are active, energized, vibrant, and changing. In team dynamics, it will be focused on your goals, to collaborative, and to trusting others. It leads to a team dynamic in which each individual is using his own strengths and talents for the group's benefit and lead to happier working conditions, faster innovation, and more productive output, or to lead to better work outcomes. focuses on personal needs which, when attained, leads to satisfaction. Motivation is the key to any challenge to success, to pursue and satisfy one's needs. It's easily to apply to any workplace. For example, of motivation is commitment to your goals. It's more like the thinking and to pursue yourself to achieve your personal goals. And another example in the classroom setting, student motivation refers to the degree to which a student puts effort into and focuses on learning in order to achieve successful outcomes.
What is formal group in NSTP? A formal group is a designated work group, one that is defined by an organization based on its hierarchical structure, with designated tasks related to its function. In the workplace, that might be the finance group or the human resources group. Number 1. Formal groups. It is created via formal authority for some defined purpose. A formal group can be a command group or a functional group that is relatively permanent, is composed of managers and their subordinates who meet regularly to discuss general and specific ideas to improve products or services. Different types of formal groups. Number 1. Permanent and temporary formal groups. Number 2. Command groups such as sections, department, etc. Number 3. Functional groups are classified according to functions of the members of the groups, such as clerks, typists, etc. These groups possess the authority of both command groups and functional groups. Functional groups can again be classified into A. Team group specifies no fixed role to its members. Letter B. Task group specifies a fixed job to each of its members. Letter C. Technological group is allotted that roles by the management. Status groups involves the members of the same status in the organization. Examples of formal groups include sections of departments such as the accounts receivable section of the accounting department, committees or special project task forces. These groups are set up by management on either a temporary or permanent basis to accomplish prescribed tasks.
Kinds of informal groups. 1. Interest groups. Usually continue over time and may last longer than general informal groups. The goals and objectives of interest groups are specific to each group and may not be related to organizational goals and objectives. Example, students will come together to form a study group for a specific class. Ang interest group ay karaniwang nagpapatuloy at maaaring tumagal ng mas matagal kaysa sa mga pangkalahatang informal na grupo. Ang mga layunin ng interest group ay tiyak sa bawat grupo at maaaring hindi nauugnay sa mga layunin ng organisasyon. Halimbawa nito ay ang mga mag-aaral na nagsama-sama upang bumuo ng isang grupo sa isang partikular na klase. 2. Friendship groups are formed by individuals who enjoy similar social activities, political beliefs, religious values, or other common bonds. Members enjoy each other's company. Examples, students who have an exercise group or who meet for a so-called jamming. Ang friendship group naman ay binubuo ng mga individual na nagtatamasa ng mga makatulad na gawaing panlipunan, paniniwala ang pampolitika, mga pagpapahalagang pangrelihiyon o iba pang mga karaniwang ugnayan. Ang bawat isa ay masaya sa samahan. Halimbawa nito ay ang mga mag-aaral na nagkikita-kita para magsaya o ang tinatawag na jamming. 3. Reference groups are composed of people who are evaluated for social validation and social comparison. Social validation allows individuals to justify their attitudes and value, while social comparison helps individuals evaluate their own actions by comparing themselves with others. Ang reference group ay binubuo ng mga taong kinikilala ang kanilang sarili bilang social validation at social comparison. Ang social validation ay tumutukoy sa saloobin at halaga ng isang individual, habang ang social comparison naman ay tumutulong upang tukuyin ng isang individual ang kanyang sarili sa pamamagitan ng pagkukumpara sa iba.
Informal groups are formed naturally in response to the common interests and shared values of individuals. They are created for purposes other than the accomplishment of organizational goals and do not have a specified time frame. Informal groups are not designed by an organization, and members can invite others to join from time to time. Meeting is convened for different purposes. Some are for information, advice, decision-making, negotiation, coordination, and creative thinking. A committee holds a specific type of meeting in which members have been delegated authority with regard to the problem at hand. A meeting of 5 people seems to be preferred for typical situation. A smaller group sometimes has difficulty functioning because conflicts of power develop. If membership rises above 7, communication tends to become centralized because members do not have adequate opportunity to communicate with one another. The groups that are created naturally within the organization due to social and psychological forces are known as informal groups. Informal groups are formed because they satisfy human needs for companionship, for identification, for a sense of belonging. Informal work groups arise when relationships develop between employees and relationships above and beyond this required by the company to get the job done.